And yeah, so I started this last summer, but honestly, you were actually with me um when I started thinking about the idea of this. It was
Yeah.
at NORWAC, because I
Yeah.
think I read it in that article when Demetra George did that presentation a few years ago. And she looked at, and I remember because she didn't get to it till the end. And you know how they are at NORWAC, but they're like, like the end, and she's like, "Oh, I got to speed up." And I was like, "No," because that's when like it started getting really wild.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, do you
you,
wanna, explain to people what she was
yeah,
talking about? And my dog's just gonna cheer you on.
oh, totally. So she was looking at, well, she was, I think she was, if I remember correctly, the broader presentation was about asteroids and astrology and the different ways you can look at asteroids, use asteroids. And she was looking at Malaysian airline. I can't remember the number, but the big one that it was like 12 years ago or something, disappeared. And so she was looking at that and she was,
It was a flight that disappeared.
yeah, it was a flight that disappeared. Um, and I don't even think they really even know which ocean it might have disappeared in. So I think that was kind of the gist of
Yeah.
looking at the asteroids on the angles or important planets to see if they reveal anything, like what the significations of these asteroids were. And they were so specific and they were pointing in, they were speaking to the conspiracy theories a little bit, but they were also kind of giving a sense of like what might have happened. And I was just
Mm,
like, I love true crime. I always wanted to mix true crime and astrology, but also wanting to do it in a tasteful way because it could be really tacky if done
mhm.
improperly, right? So I'm like, so it just took me a while. I wanted to be a better astrologer. I wanted to get better at horary because when you look at crime charts or like forensic astrology, which a lot of people call it, um, you're doing it through a horary lens most of the time. So, yeah, I think we started it last summer. We've done like 15 episodes now, and it's going really well. It's getting really good um, reception. People like it. It's a lot of fun.
It's funny because I am so bad at keeping up with anything anyone does, like, just truly, and my partner is constantly tagging me like, look at this new episode William put out."
Oh, oh, I
And
love
so
that.
yeah, so they are a big fan and, remind me to tune in, so,
Oh,
um,
nice.
really and I'm okay, so today, I messaged you because I just found this, like, crazy chart. I was like, the story in the New York Times, and I just thought you might find it interesting, and so I was like, "Well, just do a
Yeah.
live, and maybe we can pull up the chart, and you can take me a little bit through your process so people can understand, like, how you work in real time."
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and I want to say this case, you brought it to my attention. And I had not heard of it, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is wild." So we actually, with your I told you first or asked you, we actually just recorded an episode on it. I just finished editing it, and I think we're gonna put it out tomorrow. This is a really good one. This is a really fascinating one.
So we won't, like, give away too many of the details because you have a whole episode, but this is helpful because, while I pull the chart up, I'm gonna start with the base chart. Would you mind telling people a little bit about the case?
Yeah, so, this case, the missing Martin family, they were a family of 5, back in 1958 in Oregon. It was around Christmas time, and they were uh, traveling, down the or up the coast or down the up the coast, to gather, like, greenery for their Christmas tree for decorations and stuff like that, and they disappeared. The car, the whole family, um, completely completely disappeared, and there were different theories as to what may have happened, um, but well, first off, they found 2 of the members,
Mhm.
about a year later, I believe it was about a year
Okay.
later. The youngest and middle child, their remains were found, and then it wasn't until last year that the rest of them were found.
Totally accidentally, like, part of the car
Yeah,
was found when, like, a diver was in the waters.
yeah,
Right.
totally, and it's been so long, right? I mean, like, since the '50s, so they don't have a whole lot, but it's now considered case closed, but to be honest, they don't really know what happened. There's not enough there, right? It's like it's been down there for a long time. It's just mush and bits and pieces.
So, yeah, the craziest part to me was if so this was an article, this is how I stumbled across it in the New York Times. You can go check that out if you'd like to learn more. And there's this really like lovely picture of the family together. They look just so idyllic and like perfect. It's just so tragic. But apparently there was an older brother, right, who was like
Mhm.
20 or 19 or something, but he was I think serving in the military. And so he like was the only member of the family not in this car. Could you imagine how devastating that would be? Like, if your
Yeah.
entire like, if you liked your family and they just all disappeared?
It's wild. It's not something that's not what, I have like natural fears that most people have about someone breaking in or like breaking my car, but like thinking that your entire family is just going to disappear is not really, one of those things that you think about. It's wild.
Oh my god, it's so wild and, like, so tragic.
Yeah.
So I pulled up the chart. I did Regiomontanus, but, we can change house systems. When you look at these, what house system do you use?
I use the same Regimentanus.
You do? Okay, good, good, good.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
walk me through, like, let's just start with walking through your process.
Totally. So I do things I do a few things. I kind of look at different angles of it.
Yeah.
So in one way, I'll look at it from a complete horary lens, and
Mhm.
then others, I just use a little bit, and then kind of just look at the overall event chart. But the one thing that I always do, the main thing is that we look at the ascendant. And so we look at the ascendant, whatever's happening in the first house, and the ascendant ruler to represent the victim or victims. And then you look at the descendant, the seventh house, the descendant, and the ruler to determine if it's a perpetrator or what could have happened. It gives you kind of a sense of the outcome. Um, yeah, and so it's everything in between. You just kind of how what's interacting with the ascendant ruler. Does it see is it in good condition? Is it in bad condition? Which one is in better condition? Um, all of that. So, yeah.
It looks like, brother Kazemi just joined, who is an amazing
Yes.
astrologer. William and I are just taking a stab at this missing family chart. So to recap, um, and for those who just joined too, this family went missing out of nowhere. They were on a family trip in their car looking for greenery along the Oregon coast and completely disappeared. What I'm so blind. I'm staring at the date. December 7th, 1958. And about a year ago, the car was discovered, and it appears that they drove off the road into the water. Anyway, so we're just looking at this chart together.
Yeah, totally. And brother Kazemi is an ace at horary, so better than I, for sure. But again, yeah, and that's why I'm trying to get I'm studying horary deeper because there are some I've read several horary books and several texts on forensic astrology and the different approaches, and there are some that do the very like or Billy Lilly. I like to call him Elliot. Well, me call him Billy Lilly. I can't not call him Billy Lilly.
Stop! I've never heard that before.
Yeah, man.
No,
Billy Lilly.
who
Yeah.
else does that?
Ali Alomi, he said it in one of his podcasts. I can't remember
Stop.
which episode.
Stop.
Yeah.
I bet he made that up. That sounds
I
like
think he did.
he would do. He would
Yeah.
do that. Lord, I love him.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, so, some take the Billy Lilly route, and it's kind of classic horary, and I think that's important, especially, what's the next aspect that the ascendant ruler is gonna make, that's gonna tell us what might happen next,
Well,
right?
let's dig into this. Can we
Yeah,
just dig in?
yeah,
Okay, so we have the ascendant ruler, Mercury, right? Am I doing that right?
yep, Mercury and Sagittarius.
Which is interesting because
Yeah,
I thought I was like, well, it's interesting because Mercury is with the this Reggio Montana is throwing me off. It's with the 4th house ruler. Anyway, just sitting.
right.
How about
It's
I
a
throw out
family.
something, you throw out something. We're just gonna throw out
Yeah,
things. Okay.
totally, yeah, so exactly, it's the 4th house ruler, so it's just kinda doubling down the family aspect of it. The Mercury of it all is usually telling us it's more than one person, or even like children are involved, which is all accurate.
Okay, and then so this particular Mercury, though, is interesting, because it's really not in good shape,
No.
like, at all, right?
No.
It's in the sign of its, oh my god, uh, detriment. It is combust, right? Like, really combust
Yeah.
and retrograde, and also pr well, not too angular, but yeah, it's combust, it's, um well, I guess it's angular in the fact that it's in the 7th house, so
Yeah.
it's somewhat angular, so I'd say it's angular, it's combust, it's retrograde, um, not good.
Not good. And, you know, in, like, forensic astrology, if the ascendant ruler is retrograde, that usually tells us that if the case is ever solved, it's gonna take a long time. So, that's also accurate.
And so if I'm getting this right, it's actually making a mutual application with the sun, right? Because the sun's moving forward and Mercury is moving
Mm.
backwards,
Yeah.
right? And it's interesting that I think this sun on an angle feels like the truth, right? Like the family is being, on one hand, it's combust. So like like where they are is obscured, but speaking to that slowness, it sort of makes sense that this case would eventually come to light, that we would figure
Mhm.
out the truth.
Right. Totally. Um, yeah, and I think it's interesting, well, combined with other aspects of this chart, including the asteroids I looked up, uh,
And by the way, if
blind
you want me to bring anything up, I don't have outers
oh,
in
yeah.
here, but I'm happy to add to this chart.
Oh, totally, yeah. Oh, when I do asteroids, I don't usually add them to I just have them written down, but I don't, actually put them in, the chart, but, I have them written down. But, you know, with Mercury, approaching the sun, it's in detriment, it's blind a bit, right? Like, it's having a hard time seeing. I think that kind of visual is important
Mhm.
because then you also have the moon, which is the secondary signifier, like in horary, it's a secondary signifier for the victim, and it's conjunct Neptune in Scorpio.
Let me pull that up for people.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, right, because you don't have oh, that's right. I forgot.
I
Yeah,
added
you
them.
mentioned yeah,
Well, sometimes when I'm just looking at a chart, it's easier for me just to see the traditional planets just to kind of understand what's going on before I bring in extra.
smart. No, that's good. That is good. Yeah, that's the other thing, I do differently. I notice most people, when they do a forensic astrology, they will use the modern planets and the modern, rulerships, which I just can't. I just don't do it. So even in this, I use the modern planets, you know, if especially if they're highlighted, like, you know, Neptune is here, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, Neptune feels like it's doubling down on that water, right?
Yeah,
Like, the Scorpio, the moon, I mean, hindsight, we know they drowned, right? So it's kind of obvious, but perhaps
right.
if we didn't know, it would be more interesting looking at this chart, like, 3 years ago.
Right, when we didn't know at all, right,
Mhm.
exactly. But it really speaks to the circumstances. And then the fact that also another thing to point out here is that, oh my god, I always say it, that because I don't use this that often. Because normally I'm using whole sign, but when I do this, I do regimentanus, but, oh my god, I can't believe I can't remember the term, but when, Scorpio in the 6th house is,
Intercepted?
intercepted,
I
thank you, I
can't
couldn't
believe I did that one right because I rarely use intercepted houses.
right, that's why I can never think of the word for it, I was gonna say something that's not right, but yeah, intercepted, so that also means that that's all that stuff is kind of helpless out there in the water, you know?
So essentially what we're doing is we're looking to recap and tell me if I'm wrong here. We're looking at the ascendant ruler as the significator of the victim, right? In this case, victims, right? Trying to understand. And so that's what led us to that Mercury story.
Right.
And then we also would then look to the moon as a second indicator of our victims to understand the situation. Am I
Yeah,
correct? Okay.
totally, yep,
So
yes,
should we do a plate? So to focus on should we focus on the moon a little more before we go back to Mercury for a moment?
sure, yeah,
So as you said, the moon It's with Neptune, so it's sort of doubling down on that water. It's intercepted. It's in Scorpio, which is fixed water. Feels it's like prison water,
Yeah, prison water. That's good.
which I feel is kind of what it's like when your car is drowning, like the
Yeah,
prison water. Um, and that moon, if I'm see if I'm getting with this right, is let me do my brain. Okay, so it's an mutual application, right, to Mars, right? That's its next aspect. Am I doing this correctly?
yeah, yeah,
And so it's carrying that story from Mars to Jupiter. Am I
yeah,
doing right?
yeah.
Okay. What do you make of that?
Well, a few things. It made me think about first off, it made me think about the fact that there was like a gun involved. There was a gun that was found.
Oh my
But
god,
they
you
thought,
read more than I do. There was a gun?
yeah, but I can't. Somehow they thought it was linked. It doesn't seem like it was linked, but there was uh, thought that the gun was somehow related because there was a gun found nearby. And I want to say a family member had a similar gun, so they were like, "Oh, it could have been theirs."
Okay.
But I don't know about that. I feel like um, this is like, it's Mars in the 12th house. It's like something unforeseen, like an accident or maybe even, they're out in nature. I'm like, what, large animals in the 12th house. What if like a bear, I talked about this in the podcast because living out in the Northwest, I mean, especially like weird times of year like that where the weather is like kind of all over the place. Like, can have nice warm days and then you can have really, really cold days. I remember in like October, November, driving, it wasn't a major road, but it was like pretty significant road and a big black bear ran out in front of the car, which is frightening. So I don't know. It made me think of that a little bit. You know,
Yeah, and then it's in the 12th house, right? Which is also
yeah,
hidden enemies.
yeah.
So, and maybe do
Hidden
you think
enemy.
it could, like, speak to perhaps that maybe there was some foul play before they actually got in the car crash? Like you said, like, maybe
Yeah,
there was, like, a bear that, like, drove them off the road, or they got in another, accident with well, it wouldn't be an accident with another car, but maybe there was something that like, some sort of altercation that happened
right.
before.
Someone um, drove them off, or what's the word? Like, maybe it's they were being tailgated, or maybe somebody was driving recklessly and they tried to like get out of the way, and then it went off the cliff or something like that. Um, I also think because Neptune's involved, that maybe the father was drinking
Mm,
'cause they had just gone out to eat, even though, like so you used the same chart that I did, which was the last time they were seen was at the gas station, because that was the last confirmed time, but, there was, like, a waitress that said she thought she served them, like, shortly after this at a restaurant, and it was the '50s, like, could've been pills. I don't know, yeah, like pills, beer, um yeah, and I say beer because the asteroid
mhm.
Beer, which is called Beer, Beer, is conjunct the North Node in this chart,
Wow, like, how close?
within a degree.
Okay, like, side note here.
Yeah.
Asteroids are so crazy to me because there's, like, literally thousands of them, and, like, I took an entire intensive weekend-long course on asteroids and know nothing. But what I remember is it's like, you just start, like, looking for names. You're like, "I have an ex named David, maybe there's an asteroid," and you just, like, throw shit at the wall. Like, how did you think to look up beer? Or, like, how did that come to you? How did you do
Well,
your asteroid work?
well, I have, several, forensic astrology books with extensive lists. So, what I do is I go through most of them Most of them, because I unless it's something so far out there that there's no way that, like I look at the different significations of all the asteroids and anything that seems like it could possibly be related. I look up, in, astro.com, where you can look up any asteroid and add it to the chart. So I'll add them in there. I try to look up as many asteroids as possible. So I usually have a list of like 40 that I look up.
Okay.
Uh, and there's usually a handful that stick out somewhere.
Okay, so side note here. I just forensic astrology is something I've never thought to get into. Um,
Same,
who
actually.
yeah, like, who's writing these books? What's your favorite?
Sue Ward, is
Okay.
that right? Yeah, Sue Ward, and she kind of follows the Billy Lilly method.
Like, I
Uh,
don't drink, but I think we need to have some sort of drinking game and, like, every excuse to say Billy Lilly, like, somebody needs to
yeah, have a drink, take a shot. Yeah, actually, I'm reading her. She has a textbook. It's like a course. It's where it's just like 25. Sorry, I had a weird sound. 25 lessons, which
Okay,
it's just 25 different cases covering. It's a horary course, actually. So
okay.
that's what I'm focusing on more right now. But she also wrote a book that I've used or read for reference, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's like it's a pretty small book about murder and criminal cases and looking at it through a horary lens. That's actually the first book I got on it. Um, yeah,
Okay,
and
so
then
they
the other, yeah,
fun. They have just, like, a list so you have some reference books that have, like, handy asteroids for forensics and
yeah,
kind of reference that, and I love that beer is included in that list, like
beer shows up a lot, actually. There are certain ones that show up all the time, and beer is one of them.
so I'm we're, like, taking we're looking at this chart and we're, like, just having an interview. I love this. Um, it's interesting too, looking up at this chart for a moment. I always think Jupiter to me, and again, I'm not doing forensics charts, but Jupiter always just throws shows up in death charts, and so
Mm.
maybe it's interesting that that moon is making that opposition to Mars and then translating the light to Jupiter. Is that something you see a lot in your work?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Jupiter shows up in death charts. I mean, I think we've talked about this too. But something else that I notice is that Jupiter shows up when there's like a witness or a possible witness. So
Ooh.
sometimes the Jupiter can represent someone who has information or someone that knows things that other people don't. I don't know that that applies necessarily here, but maybe.
Oh, it's kinda interesting. I don't like I'm just making this up. I have no idea, obviously, but I now, like, you're kind of painting this image of, like, there being some sort of altercation. Like, maybe somebody was, like, driving really aggressively and saw them go over, but didn't wanna say anything because they were terrified.
Or maybe the husband and wife were fighting because that Venus
Yeah.
in Sagittarius conjunct Mercury is out of bounds.
Okay, let's kinda jump there for a moment because it's
Yeah,
interesting because Mercury would have just wait, hold on. Yeah, it would have just separated from Venus, which is interesting, right? And
yeah.
now it's, like, on its way to the sun. And so tell me more about your thoughts about that and Venus, I'm interrupting
I think
myself.
oh, you're fine. Yeah,
Venus
well,
is the 6th house ruler, right? And then Venus also
mhm.
Venus would she's intercepted in the 12th, right? She with the Taur
Oh, yeah,
Taurus
mhm,
is
yep.
intercepted in the 12th. So, yeah, tell me more about your thoughts on that Venus.
Out of bounds Venus in these charts feels like, and often when Venus is out of bounds, it's like heightened situations, heightened stress on relationships, maybe like an argument between partners, disagreements, and then obviously, always, unfortunately, danger for women when Venus is out of
Mm.
bounds.
Did anyone ever interview the sun after this?
Probably,
Or
I didn't come across any interviews of him, though. Unfortunately, he passed away a while ago.
wow.
Um, so he never was alive to see that they found, his parents.
I wonder if there was just some, like do you find this a lot in your work where just, like, I feel like especially in the '50s, the sort of stereotypical, like, they looked perfect, and then it was just, like, monsters all the way down.
Absolutely. I feel like that shows up a lot, like, behind the curtain, what's going on, inside the household. things weren't all, aren't, that could be, maybe they were having a fight.
Maybe dad drank too much, right?
Maybe dad drank
That
too much.
mhm.
I also was kind of envisioning, just because I'm thinking about all the irresponsible things that people used to do in cars, even like, when we were little, I'm thinking about like,
Oh my god, tell me your stories, but tell me your irresponsible car parent stories, because I have so
oh, yeah, totally. So, not my mother never did this, but, I had an aunt and uncle who would, we were driving long distance, they would have, like, me and my other cousins take turns sitting on, uh, in the driver's seat, like, on their lap steering while they, I don't know, drank beer, did whatever they were doing, and you know what I mean? Like, that was
Oh
just
my
such
god,
a
yes,
common thing.
my parents, they're like and they're both dead now, so I could talk about this. It's kinda
Yeah,
wild. Their their only hobby when I was a child was drinking and driving. Like, it was torture. They would just I mean, that's, like, what they did. They would just, like, take drives to the country and drink, and I'm like, "This is insane," and, like,
yeah,
I remember, like, them getting pulled over, and I had to, like, sit on the cooler to hide it or something. So and that was, like, the
yeah.
'80s, so I feel like things in the '50s were even wilder.
Even wilder, I know. Uh, so I think it's important to, um, entertain those possibilities.
Yes. So, the possibilities being drinking for
Oh, yeah, drinking for sure, being out of pocket with your behavior, going beyond the pale, maybe, it feels kinda Venus out of bounds, going too far, and I don't know, but, with Mercury, um, also representing children, maybe that had something to do with the kid being in the, I don't know, I have no idea, but I'm just like, I wouldn't be surprised if, the kid was in the front seat, because also
Mm,
the oldest was in the front seat. Well, this is my theory, that the oldest was in the front seat with the mom and dad, because the 2 in the back were the ones that were discovered first. So, it makes me think that the other 3 were maybe in the front seat, like, in a separate, the ones that were found later, right? So, what if the oldest, I can't remember how old she was, but she might have been close in age to being able to drive.
okay.
Um, what if she was driving?
Wow. And did they were they weren't obviously, they were found outside the car, so they somehow escaped the car. They either died on impact or escaped the car and drowned. Do we know any of that?
No, because, well, it's most likely they were trapped,
Okay.
because where the car was found is kind of like here's, like, the body of water, and there's, like, this, uh, big dip where all this stuff was kind of collecting, so the car and everything was found under all this debris, so it'd been held down by all this stuff, that had been kind of piling on top of it over the years. So I think they found them all together, so it makes me with the car, so I think they were probably trapped in the car.
Oh, but I'm saying, didn't
Mm,
they find but that was the ones in the front, but didn't they find 2 bodies, like, a year later? That's what I'm saying, like, do you think
right.
those got out? Like, that's why I'm confused.
They could have, or maybe if the back windows were open, it was easier for them to float out, or
Afterwards.
yeah. Yeah, maybe they did get out,
Wow.
because they were found kind of far away from the area where the car was found.
Wow. This is actually kind of perfect because we don't have to get too much into this chart because
Yeah.
you recorded a whole podcast on it. So I don't wanna, like, spoil that. Um, but I do wanna ask you,
Mhm.
maybe, like I've been trying to put my necklace on the whole time. This is hilarious. I'm gonna stay for a moment, so we can look at each other.
Yeah.
Um, what is your favorite's a big word. What podcast episode has been the one that you've learned the most? That you were most actually learned most, you were most surprised by?
The first thing that comes to mind, I think, would be something that was more recent, the case we talked about, which was the Burning Man murder
Okay,
from this past summer.
for those who are not familiar, can you give all of us, and we have someone just joined. So for those who just joined, I'm with William Holloway, who has a true crime astrology podcast, the name of which is
Astrology of the Unknown.
yes. And so we were here just kind of looking at a chart. The chart we were looking at of this particular mystery murder. Well, it's not murder, but like this family went missing in the 1950s, and you actually um, recorded a whole episode on that, which is going to be released tomorrow. So we're not going to like get too into it.
Yeah.
So right now, let's hop back. Tell me about these Burning Man murders or the Burning Man murder. I just made it plural.
Yeah. So the Burning Man murder, I think the reason why it was so interesting was that we just didn't have a lot of information. We still don't have a lot. Um, and that is that the person that was murdered,
Was this last year? When did it happen?
it was last summer.
Okay, okay.
Uh, I believe they weren't identified right away. Um, they actually had been living in Tacoma, Washington. But they were from another country, and I can't remember which country at the moment. But there was a lot of mystery behind them. Not a lot of people know about the person. So I didn't have their birthday. I didn't even know how old they were exactly. Um, and I don't know. I mean, I learned some stuff later on, but in the stuff in doing that case, uh, I just learned a lot. I don't know. I feel really strongly about where we ended up. Um, And then I ended up getting the birthday information, from a source more recently, and that kind of I haven't done anything we haven't done an update on it yet, but that helped me. I didn't get a birth time, but it was enough that it kind of I don't wanna say confirmed, but it definitely further, pushed the ideas that I was having around the case of what would have happened, what could have happened.
Wow. This is
Yeah.
no wonder this is like I love this already. I don't love people get
I know, I know.
I am not a true crime person, but suddenly I'm like, "Oh, I get it." You're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, this like fills this sort of human need for gossip," and then you kind of feel guilty. You're like, "But someone was murdered." Um,
right.
that's not nice. But like, what do we know about this case? Like, what is the story around it?
So the story around it was, and I can't remember his name right now either, but a young man in his late 20s went to Burning Man somewhere towards the end of Burning Man when they actually around the time when I've never been to Burning Man, so I don't, but apparently, they burn a big man.
The Burning Man. Yes,
Yeah.
they burned a
And
man.
yeah, Burning Man. During the burning of the man, he was murdered. Somewhere near it, they found him with his throat slashed. And nobody knows who did it. They don't even know who he was hanging out with. He had some friends there, and I found some Reddits too, like, but they were talking about people were talking about like hanging out with him. So I got a lot of information based on just conversations people were having at Reddit with each other. But he had kind of disappeared that morning, so he was not seen by any of his friends for the whole day until he was murdered that night. Um, so yeah, that's a mystery. Um, and that's really the most information that we really have about it.
So with that one, which chart were you using? The chart of his last appearance? The chart, like, yeah.
I ended up going with the time. Usually, I go with the last scene. Um, but for that one, because the last scene time was so varied, I went with the time that they are. There's like a 10-minute window where they think where the murder happened. So I went with that one.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
What's the name of that episode? I'm sure it's easy to find in your catalog.
Yeah, I think it's the Burning Man murder. I think it's called the Burning Man murder.
Astrology: The Unknown.
Yeah, Astrology of the Unknown, the Burning Man murder.
Um, so for this chart, we are looking at the Martin family, the missing Martin family chart. Would you go through and when you were doing your research, did you look at the chart of when they were found and to compare the two?
I do sometimes. I didn't with this one, uh, but I do often look at multiple charts, like like when they were last seen, when the body was found, when they call the cops. They're all have their own use. But no, I should look at this one for
Should
what
we
I
do that for
know.
fun right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. This is fun too because you've recorded a whole episode, but you didn't look at this.
That's
So
right.
you do me a favor and pull up the date for me, maybe the New York Times date, or you tell me what date you would work with.
Okay. What up? So, okay, initial recovery. Parts of the Ford station wagon were removed from the water on Friday, March 7th.
Okay. What year was that?
Oh, at 2025.
Okay.
But do we have a time? Exact time. Oh, here we go. Exact time of recovery. Friday, March 7th, 2025 at 3:50 p.m.
Whoever, just bless that person who is taking
I
such good
know.
notes. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just do those two charts. Family found. Okay, and then I'm gonna share. You can't hear it, but my dog is making the craziest noises.
Oh, Uba.
Puma. Okay, here we go. This is real time.
All right. Let me get, well, I was about to say, let me get my glasses on, but I already have them. I'll have to get real close here so I can see what's even happening. Okay. Is that, I really can't see it. Is that Mercury? Like a Mercury return happening
Yes,
again?
it is. It is a Mercury return, but this time Mercury is direct.
Ah,
And
amazing.
where Mercury was combust in this original chart, right? Mercury is, ooh, it would be visible as a morning star, right? Morning star Mercury.
Hmm.
Um, plenty of would be, yeah, plenty of enough degrees from the sun that it's no longer under the beams or combust, but it's like 18 degrees away from the sun, right? So it's
Yeah.
visible morning, brings something to light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I'm just thinking about that nodal opposition is interesting as well. I know it's not like something we talk to, but um,
Right.
it does feel like a turning point.
Yeah. Turning point. And see, it furthers my, what I said earlier about, Mercury being retrograde and representing the family, speaking to the idea that it would take a long time for them to be found, and then here it is with Mercury direct.
Yeah. And we didn't talk about it too much, but the moon's really not happy in this chart, right? Like
Yeah,
it is just it's a oh my God, can I do yes, it is a dying moon, right? So it's like very dark. It's in Scorpio, not it's like it's in the sixth house, right? Yeah.
yeah,
It
not
makes me feel
not
sick.
good.
Right, not it's not a happy moon, right? And so it's interesting thinking about, right, when they're found, suddenly it's a completely different story. It's an exalted moon.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. It's an exalted moon that's growing, that's waxing in light, that's pretty close to, um well, not too close, but it's definitely waxing in light on its way to becoming full, which is
yeah,
just a completely different story.
totally different story. I love it.
Okay. Stop sharing, that's fun.
Awesome.
This was so much fun.
It was. Thanks for
And
having me. This
I
was
love
great.
there are people who are still with us. Thank
I
you for
know.
being
Thanks,
join.
everybody.
We should do this more often, and
Yeah.
people should, I feel like no one ever likes to chat in these sub I don't know if people just have in the background, which is very sweet because it makes us not feel alone, but if you are still with us, I'd love for people to actually chime in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the new episode drops tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning.
I'm also putting a podcast out tomorrow.
Ooh.
I've been
Did you pick
sitting
the
on it.
time?
I take do you do intros? Do you how do you do your format? Like, does it take you a long do you do intros after, or are you just recording and you're done?
I don't do the intros like you do. You do these like really great, like I love the your form. I don't do that. I usually just I edit, you know, the 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 podcasts that we record format. I just have a little theme song and then we look at everything and then we say goodbye and then the theme song takes us away.
I'm so self-conscious. I always feel like I'm bumbling through the interview, so my way for making that up is to, like, do an intro, but then the intros take me forever, so I sit on them forever. But, I'm about to release a podcast with Naha from 22 Teachings, which is really fun and gorgeous, and I love her. So,
Awesome. I can't wait
it's
to
our
hear it.
podcast tomorrow. I'm very excited.
Yay.
And I'm also
Yes.
holding myself accountable with that. Put that out tomorrow.
Awesome. Yeah. Let me know what you think with all the extra stuff. There's a lot of other things going on in the chart.
I'm really excited. Cool. This is
Yay.
fun. I love Substack Live. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Let's do it again.
We will. Bye.
Bye.